So let's go through the LOs first. They say that classify the anticlotting drugs. All right, compare their usefulness in venous and arterial thrombosis. Mechanisms of action, clinical uses of anticoagulants. Compare. So guys, there's going to be a bunch of comparison LOs. Like everywhere it's just differentiate, compare, contrast. Let me show you. Tabulate differences. So there's a lot of tables that so what I have done is you don't need to compare and once you know everybody as a character, like learn them, like everybody is like one of the main character, one is a supporting character, one is a protagonist, one is a villain. You get what I'm saying? Villain and protagonist are, I think, the same thing. So just keep it like that. Remember their characteristics and you can draw any table in the world. Okay? Now, one thing I want to tell you before we start the course is I have used short form. IH whenever I want to say inhibit because there is tons of inhibits over here, so I'm just going to write IH, so don't get confused. And secondly, anti-clotting drugs. Before even we begin, I always try to guys make shortcuts for you guys, make life easy for you guys. One thing, remember that all of these drugs will share one same side effect, which is bleeding. So you can always get one extra mark, one mark you'll always get whenever, even if you don't know the side effects, at least you'll get the mark for bleeding, right? So don't forget, this is a smart rule. This is smart study that at least like use one common thing for many things. You get me saying? Okay. Now, so the thing over here is that, guys, I want to tell you something that I can't really teach you the classification right now. That's stupid. How is this going to benefit you that these are the anticoagulants, these are the thrombolic, antipleural, when you don't know the basic physiology? And because my courses, obviously you guys trusted me with it, how dare I not go through a regular physiological mechanism of clotting? Because if I don't do that, you won't understand SHIT. I don't like saying bad words. And I don't recommend you guys saying it either, okay? So, first let me explain to you what happens in the body normally, okay? I want you to think that there are two types of vessel in our body. There's arterial and venous. Mostly in venous circulation, this is how clotting takes place. You guys know what a clot is? Clot is literally what that ball of, platelets and fibrin together, they form a mesh. That's a clot so that you can stop bleeding. It's like a plug, right? So that clot is formed by various mechanisms, okay? So we have two types of circulation. We have a venous and we have arterial. Remember, in arterial, there's going to be more platelet-dominated clots, whereas in the venous circulation, you'll have more fibrin-dominated clots. Let me explain that to you. As soon as the board just doesn't make a fool out of me. Thank you so much, board. So let me just show it to you in a picture first. As you can see over here, guys, you can see platelet-rich clot and fibrin-rich clot. There's a difference between the two, okay? How do we make fibrin? Like, how do we activate fibrin? Like, how do we tell fibrin, yo, we need you, bro. Yo, fibrin, yo. So, fibrin is the thread today, okay? It's a thread. So, how do we tell fibrin that, honey, come, there's been a bleed, you need to make a plug? And how do we tell platelets, bro, there's been a bleed, please help us make a clot, okay? And before even we talk about that, let me just give you basic definitions, because being a good teacher is about talking about even stupid things that you might feel are stupid to ask, but I will mention. What is thrombosis? Basically, the formation of a clot is thrombosis. Remember that. And I'm sure that many people didn't even know the meaning, basic meaning of thrombosis even. So guys, I assure that my courses aim to even like make your basic concepts come to you, okay? So my courses are always aimed at concept. They're always concept-friendly courses. Like for people who are beginners, to the people who are just revising, to the people who want to top their exam, all right? Now, mostly in venous circulation, how do we activate fibrin? How do we tell him, bro, wake up? Fibrin is basically this fibrin thread. Let's suppose this is fibrin thread. It's sleeping. Let me just sleep. How do we tell him that, honey, come? So there are two pathways physiologically. Whenever there is going to be a break in the vessel wall, that pathway is known as intrinsic pathway gets activated. Whenever there will be a break in tissues, meaning not vessel, anything that's not a vessel, not inside blood. For instance, it could be liver bleed. Maybe it's just a random subcutaneous bleed, random skin bleed. Anything that turns on the extrinsic pathway. So that basic difference is something that I still remember that I also struggled understanding the difference between the two. But now you know, okay? So Whenever a blood vessel breaks, there are certain cascade reactions that turn on so that we can somehow go to fibrin and wake him up. Okay, that's basically our purpose with this. So we have the first, we have intrinsic pathway. Okay, let's talk about what happens here. So in our blood, we have something called plasma. Plasma is obviously the minus the red blood cells, we have plasma. The plasma contains clotting factors. Does that make sense? Clotting factors are the ones that are going to lead to waking the fibrin up. Okay, let's suppose he's sleeping. Silkworm. Let's make him a worm. So let's suppose this is fibrin. Okay, it's sleeping. It's a silkworm. Yeah, itni precision nahi kar sakte because, Anyway, so clotting factors, the moment they feel like, a vessel wall has broken, what happens is clotting factor first comes 12. So guys, you have to write the clotting factors in their Roman numerals. You can't write 12, okay? So this is factor 12 gets activated into factor 12A. Then factor 12A facilitates factor 11 to turn on into factor 11 activated. Okay, so this is 11. You just have to remember that each factor will activate another factor. So these are the factors, just remember them in the Roman numeral, that's important, okay? Now, 12 gets activated due to the vessel wall breakage. In turn, 12 activated form of 12A activates the reaction of 11 turning into activated 11. Then that activates the factor 9 to become the factor 9A. All of this results in the most important factor, factor number 10, bruh. How are you feeling, number 10? How's life going? Okay, just give him a mic. Yo, I'm so happy to be the main character of this Dr. Hasna's, Pharma Queen course. Like, it's totally nail. Okay, shut up, Mr. 10. Let's proceed and let's teach students. Okay, we don't have much time for your spotlight. Okay, so factor 10 becomes activated factor 10A. This is A just means, guys, it means it's activated. That's all. And this is done by factor 9. And because factor 10 has woken up, activated factor 10 is responsible for converting prothrombin into thrombin. There's also chemical in body that supports clotting. And thrombin, mister, is that dude that goes to the silkworm, to Mr. Fibrin who's sleeping. Thrombin goes like, wake up! Those annoying people. He just like shoves like a bucket of water. Nobody actually does that in real life. Psh. Those annoying like siblings that wake you up when you're sleeping, that turn on the lights. Or let's say the maids that come, if you're in Pakistan, you'd understand the maids that come and they turn on the light while you're sleeping. That's thrombin, okay? So, thrombin turns on the reaction where fibrinogen, the sleeping fibrin is known as fibrinogen. This is when he's sleeping. He becomes fibrin. Woken up silkworm is fibrin, okay? Now he's up, fibrinogen was sleeping, okay? Now, fibrin is that dude. Now he's awake. Now fibrin will make clots with the help of platelets. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Now let's talk about the extrinsic pathway. What happens if some like heart or some like random tissue breaks, and what about that? Who activates the clotting factors? In that case, it's the tissue factor. When the tissue breaks or gets a damage, it releases what we call a tissue factor. When the tissue factor is detected or absorbed in blood, this is detected by Mr. Bring in the wildcard entry of the movie. It's factor 7. VII is 7, guys. V was 5. So V1 was 6. So this is 7. Yeah, I totally understand. If you guys do it this way, I do it this way too. So you're not stupid, just saying. Because if I could top with not knowing how to do this, then you can do anything. Okay? So now that you know that the good thing about extrinsic pathway is short. All it has to do is wake up the factor 7A. Once the factor 7A is up, the factor 7A facilitates the activation of 10, and the same exact common ground comes over here in the both pathways. That intrinsic and extrinsic finally come together, become best friends, and then they basically all of their entire goal is to activate factor 10, who is eventually going to wake the sleepy silkworm. Who is the sleepy sixworm, lol. It's the Mr. Fibrinogen, who becomes the fibrin, okay? Now let me explain to you, naturally in the body, our God has given us a anticoagulant, meaning anti-clotting. God, always remember, in a movie there can't always be just a hero. There's always Mr. Villain, okay? So Mr. Villain that breaks the clot is antithrombin 3. This is a natural thing in our body that promotes breaking of clot, okay? So basically antithrombin 3, how it works, we'll find out soon, okay? Now that you know the protagonist, you know who's the hero is, many things will make sense. Now, if you want to break the clot, you want to break this clot. Suppose fibrin clot is formed. Like this is a monster is formed because of fibrin. Okay, monster is formed. A bunch of platelets and fibrin together, a monster is formed. We're scared of the monster. We need to bring a hero to save us from this bad guy. So let's introduce wildcard entry of the hero number 2. Who is it? It's plasmin. Okay, so only plasmin can destroy the clot. So we have plasminogen. This is naturally in our body. Okay, plasminogen is sleepy version of plasmin. Okay, he's sleeping. TPA comes, tissue platelet aggregation. Guys, I'm sorry. I think I completely I lost my train of thought. It's tissue plasminogen activators. This is naturally in our body. This activates the plasminogen to plasmin, and plasmin goes and eats up like Pac-Man this entire clot, and the day is saved. Thank you, Blossom, for that. Okay, so now that you know that this is a normal mechanism of clotting in our body, so 2 people that are responsible for anticoagulation naturally, I'm not talking about any drugs at the moment, is plasmin and antithrombin 3. And apart from that, who is the hero that makes the clot when it comes to venous system? It's fibrin. Okay, fibrin is like the main character in the venous system.